This is San Martin's SN0144-CG, one of the hottest Chinese watch releases of the year. Hi, I'm Brian, the Chinese watch guy. But let's step back for a moment. In preparation for this review, I was watched to one of the watch capitals of the world. And no, it's not Zurich or Geneva, it's Hong Kong. Hong Kong probably has more luxury watches per square meter than anywhere in the world. You can even find independent enthusiast brands on High Street. So how would it feel to wear a watch like this among all these luxury watches? Stick around to the end to find out. So this is the review of the San Martin SN0144-CG. Accompanying me today, he's not a gnome. If you've ever played Dynasty Warriors, Romance of the Three Kingdoms, you know this is General Guan, the Chinese god of war. He's a patron saint of both police and gangsters somehow. All right, now much has been said about San Martin being one of the best Chinese brands on AliExpress, known for high quality and great finishing. On the other hand, also much has been said about them being an homage brand, basically copying other legacy watch brands' designs. But last year they had their breakout original hit, the SN0144, a rather celebrated, elegant, sporty Gata watch. This year they've come up with a follow-up, the SN0144-CG. Maybe I'll just call it the CG for short. But does this follow-up live up to the original? Is this the Empire Strikes Back to Star Wars? Or is this more like a sequel to the original Matrix? Let's get into it. So let's first talk about the star of the show, which of course is the dial. Like the SN0144, this dial is inspired by Chinese Zhenjiang teaware. More specifically, San Martin calls this iteration their rabbit hair enamel dial. So perhaps better translated as hare's fur, this type of teaware was popular about 900 years ago in the Song dynasty. It was collected by the emperor of Song himself. And the pattern on that type of teaware had these fine streaks that do resemble hare's fur. And surviving specimens of that can still command a pretty penny. And as you can see, it does have this beautiful sunburst effect, a very unique effect, and it's even better out in the sunlight. And if you watch my unboxing, I would ask, do you notice anything? Do you notice anything different about the dial? So when I first got the watch a few weeks ago, it was quite gray under most conditions, and it was like a dark blue under certain lighting. But I don't know, perhaps something happened, perhaps exposure to the sun. Now the watch has more of that stormy blue, that dark blue color in most conditions. So it does have a very beautiful, almost mesmerizing effect. Oh, of course, and there are Chinese numerals framed in gilt. They are even numerals only, which to me calls to mind perhaps the field or pilot watches like the Seiko Alpinist or perhaps the Seagull 1963. So to me at least, there's a bit of an ingredient of that military vibe in here as well. Although obviously it's really more of a classy sports watch. Okay, talking specs, inside the movement is a high beat 4Hz Miyota 90S5, so there is no ghost date. Using that particular movement, the case of course is 316L stainless steel. Hands and numerals are loomed with BGW X1 loom, which lasts fairly well, as we'll see later, and nothing too overwhelming. The crystal is flat sapphire, and there is a screw-down caseback and a screw-down crown. The stated measurements are pretty close to what I measured them at. The case size is 39 millimeters. Case thickness is 10.1 millimeters. The only difference perhaps is lug to lug is about 46 millimeters, a bit less than the stated 46.5 millimeters. And lug width is 20 millimeters. So these are great measurements. These should fit most wrists, perhaps even more so than the SN0148, the diver that I reviewed a few weeks ago, which had a similar dial. So let's talk about the case and bracelet. As you can see, the case really is this nice, and I keep saying elegant, but yeah, I think it's really an elegant, nicely shaped oyster-style design. It curves really nicely, and when I put it on the wrist, you'll see how well it hugs the wrist. The side of the case, as you can see, has these nice brushed surfaces with really clean, polished chamfers. I think they go together well, really nicely. I think they give great light play. The bracelet is a 5-link bracelet that San Martin seems to be pushing a lot currently. It's very smooth, very comfortable, and there are these high polished chamfers on the 2nd and 4th links, which gives a lot of visual interest. Again, a lot of cool light play. The clasp is a on-the-fly micro adjust clasp. Works quite well. It's very comfortable on the wrist. Now, how highly do I rate this case design? Well, let's compare it to a few watches I like a lot in my collection. Here's a SIN 556. Now I know it's supposed to be a tool watch, but it's an elegant tool watch. And yeah, it's more of a entry-level luxury watch, isn't it? To be honest. Let's compare it to a Rolex Milgauss. Now it is a beautiful 904L stainless steel case. What do you think of the case design? Yes, it's a classic, but I don't think the CG loses anything in case design compared to these two classics. So what I'm saying is I think the CG has a nicer case design. Am I crazy? What do you think? It is subjective. Let me know in the comments. So I think all the elements go together really well here. All right, let's look at this in some different lighting and on some different straps. So it was a bit overcast on this day, but we do see it looks great in outdoor settings. And here we see it in a macro shot under natural light, and it looks sublime, doesn't it? Here we have it on a gray vintage style leather strap, I think matching the vintage style of the watch. And here on an olive NATO strap. I think I prefer the gray leather strap. So let's look at the lume. The X1 lume does a decent job. After 20 minutes, it's not shining very brightly though, although it does last for a few hours and it does beat the Zin here. Okay, let me talk about negatives and then finally my final thoughts about the CG. As for negatives, I really can't think of too many. The watch uses the same dial and the same bracelet as the SN0148. So there is some repetition there. If you like both watches, then yeah, you might feel that there's a bit of crossover. However, side by side, those two watches actually are quite different, and I did have them side by side. I have lent the SN0148 to a friend currently. Besides that, the San Martin uses screw links, and I had no problem with the SN0148 adjusting the bracelet for my wrist. However, on this bracelet, I did have a problem with one of the screws. I did strip one of the screws, and I had to go to the watchmaker to get that out. I can't say for sure if it was my error or if it was a QC error. But that is about all for negatives. Overall, I think the elements come together really well here. The enamel dial, the Chinese numerals, that heritage embodied in the watch. The beautiful, elegant case, the comfortable bracelet, I think they just come together into a great package. Earlier I asked how would I feel wearing this watch in one of the watch capitals of the world. Among all these luxury watches, I would say not out of place at all. And perhaps north or south of $320 or so, I think it does compete with watches way above this price point. I think it competes with luxury watches. Okay, this was the review of the SN0144-CG. If you want more videos like these, remember to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Enjoy your watches.